Hi everybody, happy Friday. I'm gonna have to come up with a new saying on Fridays. Although, we're pretty much always happy when it's finally Friday. Speaking, I need to be able to speak. Today's topic is about speaking. Um, so today's question is, have you been a speaker or a moderator on a panel? You can just answer yes or no, or you can let me know if you've been a speaker or a moderator. So I do have comments up from YouTube and from Facebook. Hey, Jerica, good to see you. Ernesto. Wade is in the house on the YouTube side. Let's see. Angaj. I need to look up your phonetic name. Can you let me know if I'm saying your name right? Hangaj, is that close enough? How are you today? Good to see you. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you've ever been a speaker or a moderator on a panel, okay? Lisa says she's been a speaker but not on a panel. Today's focus is really about panels because, as you saw in my description, this is a rant because the majority of panels are not done very well, and it frustrates the heck out of me. I thought about doing this topic a year ago. That's how long it's been, on my mind. So I wanted to try to squeeze it in early in this show for this season. So, all right. So, okay. A lot of things going on. So last week was the first week that I streamed to both Facebook and YouTube, and it went well. This week I am doing two new things. One is that I scheduled the event on YouTube instead of just going live, because I wanted to see if that works better, because I've been scheduling on Facebook, and it gives me a chance to preview the stream before it goes live. Last week I just went live on YouTube, and hopefully it was the right thing. Hopefully everything was working. So when you schedule an event on YouTube, it gives you a chance to preview it, make sure everything's working, and then you can go live. So I learned how to do that between last week and this week, and it seems to have gone well. We have people on YouTube, and yeah, I can see myself on YouTube, so that's good. Actually, I wanted to check one thing. If you're just watching my site, oh, it does. Okay, cool. So if you're on my YouTube channel and you don't have the link that I provided in an email, the channel still tells you that I've gone live, which is excellent. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, Jaquetta says, not on a panel, kind of don't like them. I think that you'll enjoy this show. Okay. So my dad passed away last week. And since then, I've been thinking about some good times that I've had with my dad. We've had a complicated relationship over the years, but I've been thinking about some good times. And last night, I was thinking about this thing that my dad did when I think I was in junior high school. And apparently I was saying a lot. Like when I was talking to him in a conversation, I was saying and so he started saying beep every time I said and he cleared me of saying ums. So I always fondly remember that story, and then I've actually applied that in with my friends. So I had a friend that I worked with many years ago, and this person would always say, you know what I mean? At the end of every sentence. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I started saying beep every time she did it, and I got her to stop saying, you know what I mean? So just a little tip, if you want to try to get somebody to stop saying something they're not even aware they're doing, just say beep every time they do it. It's kind of funny. It makes everything funny, but it actually gives them, an opportunity to stop doing it. All right, so countdown. is gone, let's go ahead and start the show officially. Welcome to the Legal Tech Mastery Show. My name is Amy Bowser-Rollins, and I am glad you are all here. We have a bunch of people on Facebook and a bunch of people on the YouTube side. Luis, you made it. Yes. Cool. There's some people that have been following me for a while and keep hoping to make it to one of the shows. So it's really cool to see people here. Hey, Kathleen, good to see you here. Okay. YouTube is on her to-do list, Kathleen. Okay, I think I'm going to have Kathleen on the show. She's somebody that's been learning how to live stream with me, and she has she overlaps with what we do. So I think you guys will get a kick out of learning from her. She's very smart, very good at what she does. Okay, so when I learned how to live stream, one of the things that was drilled into us was that the first priority is the viewer, you. Every decision we make should be made with the viewer's mind, in mind. So making everything we do the best it can be for the viewer to experience. So the same thing in my mind for speaker panels. The first priority, guess what it is? The audience. The audience is the first priority when you're speaking by yourself or also on a panel. And when you have a panel, there's multiple people trying to work together, and it sometimes is a massive fail. So today's agenda, let's just pull up today's agenda. Are you ready? Today's agenda is, I'm going to rant, okay? I have a list of things I'm going to bring up about speaker panels. And, okay, so before I start, though, I wanted to remind, since we're on YouTube now, I wanted to bring up two screenshots. So one is if you go to my YouTube channel, you can subscribe, but also you can click that little bell icon, and it'll let you know every time I add the video. So on the YouTube side, I'm adding the recording of the video later. So I wanted to let you know that you can subscribe, and that's one thing. You'll get an email occasionally about things on YouTube. But if you want to know every time I add something to the site, you can use that bell icon. And the next thing is, now that I'm scheduling my YouTube events, when I send the link to you guys in an email, it gives you this little set reminders, just like Facebook. Okay, some of you are already using it on Facebook. Okay, so let me, okay, I just want to check the comments. Wade says beep on the Facebook side. All right, Ramesh is having trouble. Ramesh, can you try refreshing? Sometimes live streaming, there's little things that happen. So I've learned when I'm watching a live stream to just keep refreshing, change browsers, change devices. Live streaming is always a little buggy, I guess. Okay. So the second thing that I'm trying new this time is comments on the screen. So these are comments coming in from Facebook and from YouTube. There's Ramesh saying he's having trouble. Hopefully he'll resolve that. Okay. So I have the comments set to automatically update as you guys add comments. So if you want to see your comment on the screen, go ahead and add a comment. It's pulling in from Facebook and YouTube, as you can see. All right, so a couple people responded to the question of the day about being a speaker on a panel or being a moderator. So I want to give two examples before I start saying a bunch of negative stuff that gets on my nerves. I wanted to tell you two good examples that Always remember. Okay. One is it's been years ago. It's actually been probably 3 or 4 years. Um, uh, awesome comment, Wade. So last week I said that it was kind of weird because I could see comments from both YouTube and Facebook, but you could only see comments from where you are. So you only see the YouTube comments or you only see the Facebook. So I wanted to try this to see how it works and see if I want to continue to do it. The software that I'm using only allows me to do it with Facebook. So I'm using a different solution right now for YouTube and Facebook. And then as soon as my software, which is coming, as soon as they connect to the YouTube API and allow us to do comments, then I'll probably switch back to that one because I kind of like it better. Okay. 2 examples of good panels. One was a webinar, so it wasn't live. Well, technically it was live when it was a webinar, but it wasn't in person. But the format was it was a software provider partnering with a law firm partner. And so the partner had used their software, right? So the CEO comes on first and talks generally about the software. A tech guy comes on next and talks about how the software was used in that particular case study. And then the partner came on and talked about how he usually does things, how he combined a little bit. He was nervous about using the new technology. In this case, it was way back yonder when we started using assisted review. So his story was, because I was nervous, I used a little bit of old school and a little bit of new with the new technology, which was awesome. Perfect example of, what we probably would do if we're new to a technology and we don't trust it. So that was a good webinar because it showed the diversity from the perspectives, and it sort of flowed right in that order. The second example was earlier this year. My friend Alma was on a panel, and it was 3 panelists and 1 moderator. Bob Ambrogi was the moderator. And they planned ahead of time, and they sat in the order that, hey Barry, good to see you here. They sat in the order they were talking, and they had planned ahead so that the first guy who spoke talked about his software and how it works and how it integrates with things. And it just so happened to integrate with the second person's software, and that was Alma. And then she talked about what her software does and how it integrates with the first guy's software. And then we went to the third guy, and he was a different, solution. And Alma sort of talked about how she integrates with his stuff too. And then he got a chance to talk about his integration with her. So perfect. Bob Ambrogi did a good job of moderating, but I love the fact that they planned ahead and they even sat in the order they were doing it in the workflow. So excellent example. Okay, so let's talk about the audience perspective first. Okay, so if you do a speaker panel not so well, I'll try not to use totally derogatory terms, but it is a rant after all, right? Okay. If you're in the audience and the speaker panel is not doing what I consider a good job, of course, everything is this is my opinion and my show, but so the audience can tell when you're not prepared, right? The audience can tell when the moderator is failing to moderate. The audience can tell when a speaker is hogging airtime. And I think that the audience deserves to hear the multiple perspectives, right? They came there to hear a panel, and they need to hear from each of the speakers, and maybe even, each of the speakers in an answer to the same question, right? They want the different perspectives. That's my point. Okay. They also want to be heard. So if you take up all the time in your speaking and then you don't leave any room for questions, I understand that every single speaking engagement, every single webinar, they want to not allow a lot of questions because it can take you off on tangents that you didn't expect to talk about. And also it can take up a lot of time. And sometimes you're only allotted, most of the time, you're only allotted a certain amount of time, 50 minutes to an hour, right? So I understand all that. But what you can do is you leave time for questions. Like when I speak, if they give me like 50 minutes to an hour, I leave 10 or so minutes, 10 to 15 minutes so I'll probably plan I do plan my speeches, my talking points for 45 minutes. And then I leave questions at the end. But I also let people interrupt me. But I'm good at, cutting people off and moving on and getting back on track. I do that in meetings as well. So, but what you can do is say, we're only taking 3 questions. Pick a number off the top of your head that makes sense. But, we're only going to take 3 questions. Set the expectation, just like you do with your children. And, at least they can be heard and they know there's only going to be 3 questions. But I hate when webinars and speaker panels, let's focus on speaker panels, Amy, go through their whole spiel and they're pushing information out and not interacting, okay? So, okay, so that's the audience perspective. Now let's turn to the speaker perspective, but let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. All right, so Ramesh says that he's been on panels as speaker and moderator. Okay, cool. Glad you were able to fix the video, Ramesh. Okay, and Barry is saying something nice. He learned how to live stream with me as well. But boy, I hope I can get Barry's energy level. Kathleen, how do we get Barry's energy level? Actually, my rant is helping, right? So, okay. All right, so from the speaker perspective, number 1, it's not about you. Did I mention it was about the audience? Okay, so just because you were invited to be on a speaker panel doesn't make it all about you, okay? Second, it's an honor to be invited, and you should take it seriously, which means you should prepare. And even if no one is contacting you to prepare, you should reach out and try to prepare, okay? I think that from the speaker perspective, that you should design a topic workflow, okay? Sort of like I described earlier on one that I really liked. Design a topic workflow that goes across speakers, okay? Just like I described that I liked with the one with Alma's my friend in New York. Okay, let's see. Divide the session time, let's say you have 50 minutes, by the number of speakers, right? And then make sure that you're allocating enough time. So let's say that it's not a Q&A. Let's say that each person's going to talk about their thing and take turns, okay? Think about big picture and divide the amount of time that you have by each person and give them that allotted time so that they can prepare a concise, whatever they're going to say in that allotted time. Now, if they screw that up, that's on them, okay? Okay, so Kathleen's using an emoji, and apparently my little software doesn't like it. So, okay. All right, so somebody else needs to comment on Facebook so we can get rid of that ugly little icon, okay? Good to know, Amy. All right, if you're a speaker on a panel, don't be a wallflower. Have you seen those? Have you seen speakers on panels where they don't speak up, so they don't get their turn, so they have to actually initiate or raise their hand and say they have an answer, or, they have to initiate a conversation if no one is calling on them and giving them an opportunity. So, most speakers are strong personalities. I have a few friends that have, less than strong personalities, but they want to get better at speaking. So baby steps is to start as a moderator usually. But anyways, if you are on the speaker panel, do your job. Stop being a wallflower. Don't be quiet. Don't be afraid to speak up. Be respectful, but don't be afraid to speak up. All right. Barry says he's also seen people hog the mic. There's a fine line between wallflower and it went away and rude. Yes. Yep. Okay. Totally agree with you, Barry. All right. So speaking of wallflowers and quiet speakers, invite your fellow speaker to chime in. I've done that before when I see someone's not being is being taken advantage of and or they're not doing it themselves, I will do my thing and then specifically address them and try to get them to chime in next. So what do you think, Kathleen? I'm just going to pick on Kathleen today, apparently. Also, as a speaker, I think that you should compliment something that another speaker said. So, say, if a speaker just talked and it's your turn to talk, say, right on point, I totally agree with you, or, something complimentary. I think it's respectful. You can also tag team behind a fellow speaker. So a fellow speaker says something and you're like, you know what, I have one thing to add to that, or I have one follow-up to that. And then some people struggle with this. In fact, if you struggle with it, you should learn how to do it. Maybe I should do a course on doing this, which is be concise. Figure out, learn, if you're not doing it naturally, figure out how to do it if you're going to be a speaker on a panel. You have to be able to write concisely, and you need to be able to talk concisely. All right, so the other thing is, if you're a speaker on a panel and you're not speaking at the time, someone else next to you, your left or right, is speaking. Have you ever seen the speakers that sort of just tune out? They just like wander, they look around the room, they look, they're just not paying attention and being respectful to the other co-speaker, They're not, if the right way to do it, and if you ever see me on a panel, call me out if I didn't do this, but the right way to do it, I think, is to A, look towards the person who's speaking, and B, engage with the audience on their behalf, right? So they're speaking and they're, you see faces nodding, make eye contact with an audience member and, nod your head or smile or grin or something like that, whatever makes sense. But on their behalf, while they're focused on speaking, engage with the audience. But don't do this. Don't sit back in your chair and, act like you're bored and, just waiting for your time to talk. And, it's just so not right. Okay. And then if the panel is a Q&A model where you've arranged a panel and you have a bunch of people in the audience that are going to be shooting questions at you, and the moderator is, picking the person and they ask the question and blah, blah, blah. If you recently answered a question, zip it. Have you ever seen those people that want to answer every question and don't care that they have panelists with them? Again, hogging airtime. If you recently answered a question, wait 2 or 3 questions before you chime in again. Give your other speakers time to answer questions, for God's sake. All right. Lastly, sort of like I was saying for the being respectful to your fellow speaker, make eye contact, engage with the audience. I do this, when I see people nodding at what I'm saying, which you probably are doing right now and I can't see you. If I see people nodding, I look at them and I smile at them. And that eye contact helps because sometimes, first of all, they feel like they're getting more out of it. And second of all, they come up afterwards and you've already started that dialogue. And so, they come up and, say hi and ask a follow-up question or something like that. So it's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Where are we on time? Okay, cool. We're good on time. Barry mentions, Barry, did you switch from YouTube to Facebook? It's all over the place. Barry says, check your phone. Don't check your phone. Yeah, that's a good one. My friend Lana, I told her I was doing this topic, and she's like, and then there's the people that read from their notes, which that didn't come to my mind right away, but apparently it does to hers. They do the preparation, but they sit there and and da 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 da, and they don't, like they're not doing anything. So I'm saying that you should do. Okay, let's see. Wade says he totally agrees with me. Ramesh says the intent should be to share knowledge and not to show off or behave as a motivational speaker. Barry says, yawn, what was that? Barry's giving me a hard time. Barry's a heckler. So Ramesh agrees that checking the phone is highly disrespectful. Okay. This is pretty cool because the comments are going to be in the video. So if you weren't on the, live, then you'll be able to see. I've seen panelists do it spooky. He tried to hide it under the table. I've seen that too. People do that in meetings. So obvious. All right, so now I want to address a couple things from the moderator perspective. So if you're a moderator, guess what your first job is? Moderating. So some people get asked to be a moderator and they just show up. They didn't contact the speakers ahead of time. They didn't, come up with an agenda or an outline, or, they didn't work together to create something. They just show up and they don't even know how to pronounce the speaker's names sometimes. Do your homework, Mr. Moderator, Ms. Moderator. But also, when you're moderating, I suggest that you use the speaker's first name. So you assign the question. So you're going to read the question, or you have the question prepared or whatever, and you're going to say, what do you think, Kathleen? Because today is Kathleen Day. Would you like to answer that question? Barry. Okay. All right. The other thing you need to do is learn. If you don't know how to do it, I know how to do it. Can you do this? In a nice way, of course, in the nicest way you can. As soon as they pause for air, learn how to cut off long-winded people. So if somebody is speaking, you have to be respectful. You can't do it too abruptly, but you can figure out a way to, get their attention and say, what I do is wait till they take a breath of air. So wait till they finish a thought, period. And before they go on to the next thing, say, so-and-so, let's, move on, or we need to keep, or the time, or whatever you need to say, right? Get the person to stop giving too long of an answer. Hello, taking up everyone's time. Okay. Again, same as I said for the speaker, another point is the moderator. It's not all about you. Have you ever seen those moderators that think they're a speaker and they try to take over the conversation and they start sharing their knowledge? They start talking as if they were the speaker. And a month ago, I went to a different conference. So I meant to say this earlier. I'm not cutting on panels just in my industry. Because I'm an entrepreneur, because I'm in the online marketing world, because I'm in the education world, I go to conferences in all different industries, right? So a month ago, I went to a marketing conference. And there was this guy who was moderating 3 speakers. And he gets up there and he thinks he's all sly, and he thinks he's funny. He thinks he's being sarcastic. He's like looking at his phone to take, supposedly he wrote down notes of what he wanted to ask. But then he would go off script totally. And he was trying to be funny and sarcastic and totally failing. And it just took away from the fact that the speakers actually were really smart and really good. All 3 of them. So he sort of, they could have done without him as far as I'm concerned. So it's not all about you if you're the moderator, okay? Let's see. Kathleen says, good to hear me laugh. Ramesh says the moderator, can you guys see that? Yeah, moderator has to do the balancing act, how the audience is going to benefit speaker participants, make the best use of time, right? Barry says that's really good. The deer in the headlights look after a question is asked is hard for everybody. Okay, let's see, I think I have 2 more things for the moderator. Monitor the time. So that is absolutely the moderator's job and not necessarily the speaker's job. You only have that 50-minute slot or that 1-hour slot, and somebody is behind you, right, at a conference. So it's respectful to finish even a little early so that everybody can unpack, gather their stuff, get it away. The next people can come in, especially if there's laptops involved, man. I'll go right up to the person who's in my way and just stalk them until they leave, right? So the moderator should monitor the time and make sure you don't go over, okay? And then, okay, I already told you that one. All right, so there is no handout for this week because I'm ranting, so there's not really an educational handout to go with that. But do you guys have any other things that I didn't say that you want to add in? You guys have already done some of that. Just want to make sure. Um, let's see. Barry says the moderator equal the monarch. Guess you guys are going to see there. There it is. Just came in. I have it set to change every 10 seconds. Okay. Anything else from the Facebook side? Anybody else have any advice for being a good speaker on a panel? Okay. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Next week, I hope to have a guest. It's Veterans Day and for some people, but I'm going live anyway. So if you have off that day and you're around the house and have nothing else better to do, why not join me live next Friday? Same bat time, same bat channel. Okay? Let's see. Barry says I don't like when panelists have to share the mic. Hey, that's a good point. That's preparation on the conferences side, especially when the mic, like you said, has to be, they have, 5 people and 3 mics and they're, it's a mess. But of course, I guess they can't have 5 mics, but, all right. So Kathleen says I nailed it. So I guess I will sign off and let you guys get back to what you're doing. But thank you very much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you in a future show on a Friday. Okay? Take care.